What is going on, guys? This is Crozin, and welcome back to another Monster Hunter Wilds build. This time I'm back on the Insect Glaive with the Scorching Whiteflame Torrent build. And the main idea behind this build was that I wanted to mix Scorcher with Whiteflame Torrent, and the good news is that the Insect Glaive works out very well with these two skills because you're going to be able to proc Whiteflame on the first attack of your main combo, and you can actually chain that, so every combo you have an opportunity to proc that on the first attack. And this build makes for a great alternative to artian weapons because you're not going to lose out on too much damage, and the longer the fight goes on, the more procs you're going to get, which means that Whiteflame can kind of win out on those longer fights. So let's take a look at the build. So beginning with our Zoshia weapon, for the decorations, we want to go ahead and slot in Critical Jewel 3 for critical boost, as well as Flight Jewel, so that way we get Airborne, and Airborne is going to work with the majority of our combo, so it's very useful for any Insect Glaive build. And then for the last decoration, we're going to go with the Handicraft Jewel, and one of the main weaknesses to a lot of these non-Artian weapons is the sharpness. You know, you get out of that white sharpness too quickly, and because of that, you really have to slot in either Handicraft or Razor Sharp, and in this case, one level of Handicraft just gives you a little bit more of that white sharpness. So prior to crafting your Zoshia weapon, you actually can settle for either the Lalabarina tree or the Ajarakan tree. The Lalabarina tree will actually work very well for paralysis, and then with the Ajarakan tree you'll have that blast effect which will replicate Whiteflame Torrent, except with Whiteflame Torrent you won't have to build up the status. As far as the Kinsects are concerned, the main two are going to be Archmaiden or Fiddlebricks, so choose either one of these. The main reason you want them is because of their bonuses. So as you go through your upgrade path, make sure that you settle on either Archmaiden or Fiddlebricks. So for the armor set, we're going to use the 4-piece Guardian Rathalos set in order to get Scorcher 2, and then I also use the Arc Vulcan Male B in order to get 1 level in Weakness Exploit, and that'll get you up to level 5 Weakness Exploit that way. And then for the Talisman, I like to use the Challenger Charm 2 for 2 levels of Agitator. The decorations are going to be pretty straightforward. We really just want to have 3 Mighty Jewels for level 3 Max Might, that's 30% affinity right there. 1 Chain Jewel in order for 1 level in Burst. I just feel like that value is just too much in order to pass up. Yes, I could have went Agitator here, but again, 1 level in Burst to me just feels a little bit more powerful than 1 level in Agitator. And then we're also going to go with the Counter Jewels. That way we get level 2 in Counter Strike, so that's a nice attack buff whenever we get knocked down or whenever we power through an attack. From there, we don't really have too much else that we can slot in here, so I just use 2 Protection Jewels for Divine Blessing and then 2 Gobbler Jewels for Speed Eating. So for the next segment of this video, we can go over some combat tips, not only for the Whiteflame procs, but also just how to use the Insect Glaive in general. And the main goal behind the Insect Glaive is getting 3 extracts as quickly as you can in order to use your main combo. And you have 3 ways of doing that. The most efficient is targeting wounds, but of course, that's not going to be available to start the fight. So you really have 2 ways in order to start the fight that way. And you can either go by going into your focus mode, and whenever you hold down right trigger, you can actually harvest the extract on a different part of the monster's body. And if it pierces all the way through, you'll be able to get 1, 2, or even 3 extracts that way. And one thing I recommend is to always be in focus mode whenever you are playing Insect Glaive, because if you don't have all 3 extracts and you are just attacking with Y, that's going to give your Kinsect a chance to get those extracts. And so if you're not a crazy person like me, where you like to hold down focus mode all of the time, you can just go into the options and put the melee weapon's focus mode control to toggle. So now that we have all 3 extracts, we're ready for the main combo, and the main combo has a chance to proc Whiteflame on the first attack. And this can work every 3 seconds, so if you don't get it the first time, then you'll have like a 50% chance the next 3 seconds, and if you don't get it that time, then it's like a 100% chance the next 3 seconds. So you can proc this multiple times in a chain though, because of the way our combo works, because it lasts longer than 3 seconds. So to do our combo, it's going to involve holding down B in order to charge the strong descending slash, and then doing 2 Ys in between that before we release the B and then charge the B up again. So the first attack that we do with our Y has a chance of getting that Whiteflame proc. So we're going to hold down B. Let's see if we get the proc here. So we didn't get the proc there, so now release the B. Now let's do a Y again. We didn't get the proc there, so that was a 50% chance. So now we got a 100% chance to get it here. And then as you see, there's the proc. Then release B, And then let's see if we get it again. So we didn't get the proc there. So now this will be a 50% chance on this first Y, and then we got the proc there. And then you just rinse and repeat that combo. And that's going to get you the most damage because you're going to be able to consistently proc White Flame on the first attack of the main damaging combo. Now, if you really wanted to, you could take this one step further into the Rising Spiral Slash combo right after a strong Descending Slash, but I personally don't like to use this because it doesn't proc White Flame. So if you really wanted to though, you could go into your 2 Ys, release the B, and then do a Rising Spiral Slash, but it's not really going to be that effective for White Flame, so I really wouldn't recommend it unless a monster is fleeing or unless you have wounds that you can target immediately in order to get all 3 extracts back. So for a typical fight rotation, you can send in your Kinsect in order to gain extracts that way. Generally, I only use that when the monster is far away, and when I'm playing in multiplayer, I just use the focus mode method in order to gain extracts by attacking different body parts, as I just find that more efficient. Once you have an opportunity, that's your chance to go into the main combo, so sidestep slash, strong Reaper slash into the strong Descending slash combo, and just rinse and repeat that in any method that you choose. And you also have the opportunity to use offset attacks if you get that right as the monster's attacking you on the strong Descending slash. And then from there, like I said, just rinse and repeat our main combo with the strong Descending slash, and that's going to give you the best damage, plus you're going to be able to proc White Flame on the first attack of that main combo. So I hope you guys enjoyed my Insect Glaive Scorching Whiteflame Torrent build, and this build makes for a great alternative to anyone that doesn't want to use an Artian weapon, whether that be because of fashion or whether you just don't want to farm the materials or you don't have a perfect Artian role yet. And that's where this build really excels, because this build is not going to suffer too much in damage compared to, you know, the best Artian weapon that's out there. And it's going to work great in multiplayer where the fights are generally going to last longer. So thank you guys for watching till the end. Let me know what other builds you want to see, and I will see you in the next video.